What is this song?
Cake. It's one of theirs.
You know, that's one band I've never taken the time to get to know more.
Understand.
He's going the distance. It's the only song I know.
You really need to know Short Skirt, Long Jacket.
Is this it?
No.
Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. We're back on the game. Mitch Fortner, Trey Coverdale. Just us two rocking it today. 540, my next 5 on my top 100 TV theme songs of all time list. It'll be 95 through 91 after today's announcement of spots. I'll put the article up and update it every day. Just wasn't able to get to it yesterday or today. Been kind of a busy fella.
Slacker.
We'll talk about Willie Mays a little bit later on. Slacker's fair. Slacker is fair. Although I was here until 1:30 this morning, so it's whatever.
God bless severe weather.
And it wasn't all severe weather coverage, but some of it was. Listen, I'm so sick of severe weather.
Right?
I think we've had more in the last couple of months than we had the last 2 years combined.
Yeah, pretty much.
It feels like it because we had like a nice 2 or 3 year run where it was actually pretty rare. No, it wasn't like we weren't getting some storms. They just weren't severe. And now it's like every 4 days.
Sure.
There's something popping up. But here at News Radio KMAN and Manhattan Broadcasting, we will do our absolute best and then some with our severe weather coverage to keep you safe and informed. So I'm just saying we could use a little bit of a break, Mother Nature. But this is going to be a really fun hour number 2 as we take it to 6 o'clock. Reminder, pregame coverage for the Royals tonight against the Oakland A's in California. We'll start at 8 o'clock, 8:40 for the first pitch. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if we're going to have much of a show because they have first pitch at 2:37, which I don't know who Oakland A's have their TV rights with.
NBC Bay Area. It's basically one of the Comcast owned.
Yeah, let's figure this out. 2:37, 8:40. Like, why can we not have more normal start times?
Well, the 40 is a relatively normal start time at this point.
Not the 40 as much, but like 2:37.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get a nice, a 5 after, 10 after, somewhere in there,
It may not be on television tomorrow afternoon out there. That's quite possible.
Well, then why are we starting? Let's start at 2:30.
Well, yeah, there's that. Probably because you've got the structure of all the things that go on before the game. You know how that script works.
If you're talking about fan experience, who's there to entertain?
Okay, valid point.
They're having to get the same guy who sits 6 rows behind the dugout to do the 5th inning game every day.
Oh man,
they need somebody to do. The pick a hat, the hat shuffle.
Still amazing that the one franchise that has moved the most in Major League Baseball will be moving again.
Well, Vegas is way better.
Valid point.
It's going to be their best spot that the franchise has ever had.
I don't disagree with you, but it's just such a mess.
Well, and it's about time that Vegas gets another pro team. Like, it was amazing, like, for how long Vegas didn't really have anything at all.
Nobody wanted to be around the gambling. That's what it was. It was the absolute concern and fear of what's going to happen when we are, oh, wait, you mean, like, is happening now?
Sounds like some poor leadership to me. I don't know. I would have made that move a long time ago. Would have been like Ari Gold from Entourage in like season 7 when he was trying to get that NFL team to Los Angeles. He made a lot of valid points, and now there's a team in Los Angeles. There's a lot of things. I'm watching Entourage for the first time ever right now, and I love it. Now, when it comes to some dialogue, there's certainly some things that they could not get away with today for good reasons. But it's a pretty phenomenal show, and Johnny Drama is my guy.
Have you gotten to the paint gun episode yet?
When Ari starts blasting people in the office when he starts firing people?
Yes,
I have.
Love it.
Yes, I have.
Love it.
Let's see. Where are we at? Where's the transition here? All right, let's talk K-State football recruiting because it's another good day for the Cats, and I love where this momentum is. And, boy, let's hope that momentum continues through this weekend and into the 4th of July timeline. Because we had Mason on in hour number 1, and he mentioned the number 15. Well, we're 15 days away from the 4th of July for that being a goal. Well, the Cats now just need 5. K-State has picked up 7 commits in the last 10 days. That, guys, is a hot streak. And it comes at a good time with these camps, all these visits, multiple guys visiting at one time. And a decent chunk of those visits have decided to go to K-State, like this recent group of guys that were just here. And that's where we did find McGuire Richmond and Dominic Mitchell, who committed today. They were part of that group. And a number of those guys in that group as well. Some are going to TCU, West Virginia, going to a Big 12 rival. But K-State's still making significant progress with these recent visits and these recent camps. So, quickly, some information about the 2 guys that committed today to get K-State to double digits for the class of 2025. It starts with the in-state kid in McGuire Richmond from Blue Valley High School, just played his junior season for head coach Alan Terrell, who's a K-State grad, which, by the way, he'll be joining us on tomorrow's show. And the big reason I want him on is let's talk about this K-State tie to Blue Valley High School. That is its own pipeline over the last handful of years. Sterling Lockett, Blue Valley Tiger. You have Andre Davis, wide receiver. He was a Blue Valley Tiger. J.B. Price, running, and just a stud of a running back. I'd said this before, prior to Dylan Edwards entering the transfer portal, becoming a Cat, if K-State stuck with what they had, I still felt pretty good. But behind DJ Giddens, there was just so much talent that you would find a gem out of one of those guys, maybe even a couple of guys. But of course, DJ would get the number of carries, many more carries. But you don't pass up on Dylan Edwards. And what an impact Dylan has already made. We haven't played a game yet. It's only been a couple of months. And now it feels like sky's the limit with this offense potentially. And this is a K-State team that is going to compete for a Big 12 championship game in Arlington, Texas. At least you hope so. They should be that caliber of a team. Many expect them to be that caliber of a team. This pipeline is producing some very solid talent. Sterling Lockett, we haven't really seen him play. But Wyatt Thompson had told us many times during the spring portion of Wildcat Insider that he feels like Sterling Lockett's going to show up in 2024, and you're going to see his impact. Now, Richmond he's right now, according to 24/7 Sports, the 13th best player in the state of Kansas, which now gives K-State 2 players that are ranked amongst the best in the state of Kansas. So K-State has taken its next step for 2024 in recruiting in-state talent. The other being Martell Jackson, the corner from Derby. Now, I'll touch more on that here in just a minute. The other commitment is Dominic Mitchell, the safety from Phoenix, Arizona. Don't know a ton about him. His offer list had Army, Air Force, Navy, all the academies were coming for him. Montana State, UConn was in there as well, but he decided to become a Cat, and that happened quite quickly, did his recruitment. And then back up to Richmond. I mean, we spoke with Mason about this for a little while about this is a great win for Steve Standard, and we should also give Coach Standard his flowers because he now has 3 linebackers in this class. I mean, they could be done with linebackers. And you got 3 of them, and we're at the middle of June. That's some very solid work. Steve Standard's a great coach. There isn't a bad coach on this coaching staff for K-State football, but also they're all sticking around, other than, of course, Colin Klein. But stepping in there and already making a great first impression, Connor Riley as offensive coordinator. Matt Wells is now on board with the recruiting, who's also a great offensive recruiter and schemer, developer, mind. K-State is in a great spot right now, and this momentum in recruiting is that sign. But here's the next step. You have 10 guys. They're all 3 stars. Not all of them have been evaluated by all the recruiting sites yet. But at 10, that's a great number. That's still going to continue to grow. There's more to come in a very short amount of time. But next is Lincoln Cure, potentially. And when I say next, and that's because his next official visit for K-State will be starting on Friday. Lincoln Cure is your Avery Johnson of this class if you land him. And maybe even more so because he's receiving that 5th star. 5-star tight end from Goodland, Kansas. So there's a lot there. 5-star, extremely talented tight end, which K-State has brought the sexy back to the tight end position, and he's an in-state kid. According to where you're looking, some say he's the best player in the state of Kansas. So it's already been good. Now K-State is looking for more than great. I mean, launching that rocket into the stratosphere of what this 2024 class is, you're looking to now land your prize player in Lincoln Cure. And there's been a lot of work put in by this coaching staff on landing him. Going in masses out to Goodland to visit, bringing him here multiple times. He's been here multiple times. But he's already announced that he's got his Final 4. He's already visited the 3. And in order, KU, where his brother's at, you have Texas A&M, just visited Oregon. And Oregon's Oregon. Eugene, Oregon is Eugene, Oregon. I've been there once. It's beautiful. The facilities are great. That was 2017. And after seeing those facilities, I can tell you K-State's got better facilities. At least they look better. More amenities, it feels like. But it's still a really great place. Now it's the pitch to keep him home. We'd seen it a lot in the past. Heck, before Avery Johnson, K-State's last top get for the state of Kansas in the recruiting class was 2004. And then you get Avery Johnson. Now it's can you get Lincoln Cure? Get him to stay home and to come play tight end for the Cats. And boy, maybe sooner or later you're going to be calling K-State tight end U. There's a tie into Iowa there because Iowa's been really good at sending tight ends to the next level, obviously, for a while now. McGuire Richmond, his brother plays at Iowa. That goes back to Steve Standard, and their win for him was that there's already a family member there who's a starter on the offensive line, who's pretty good. He could have gone to play with his brother. K-State got the pitch down right, and Steve Standard worked his magic, and they're bringing him to K-State, and he is going to stay home as well and stay in the state of Kansas. So this momentum is really fun right now. But if you want to take the fun to the next level, that's Lincoln Cure. So this is a pretty big weekend for K-State football to land the prize get. That will take K-State's class absolutely to the next level by landing Lincoln Cure. And that's a name we've brought up. Again, Mason brought him up with Drew, with DY or whoever we speak with from K-State Online. Obviously, those are the guys we talk with when it comes to recruiting. And the message the entire time has been that K-State's got the advantage. The hunch, the feeling is that K-State has the lead on him. So hopefully that comes true. If it happens this weekend, not sure. Obviously, to everybody, that would be the best case scenario. He's here for the visit, save K-State for last, and they lock it up this weekend. That's worked for a lot of the recruits for this 2025 class. Maybe may need to be a little bit more patient for Lincoln Cure, but we'll see.
One of the things that I have found interesting is that they have had classes or groups of guys in each of these weekends. It's been solid lists each of these weekends. It's no small thing that they're doing each weekend when bringing the numbers of guys in. They, where you brought up with Mason the discussion that it could be double-digit guys for this commitment class at some point here in this spring. It's just crazy.
Yeah, would need to specifically ask the coaches, like, Has there been specific changes to the strategy on how to recruit this summer, bringing guys in with the camps and the visits? What has changed, and if it's changed, why is it working? Those are the questions that I'm right now left to ask still and get that information, because I'm very, very interested about, if it has changed, what has changed, and do you think it's working to the best of its ability? Because I think something has changed, maybe a little bit of the strategy, and right now it's paying off.
Absolutely.
All right, was there anything else I was going to say? I think I got all my notes in there. Celebrity deaths, they say they come in threes, and I think this is the latest example of that. We lost a legend, an absolute legend in baseball. We'll talk about Willie Mays when we come back. Can you name the band that did this song? Hold your head up. Hold your head up.
I can, but it's right here in front of my nose, so I'd be cheating.
Argent, right?
Yes.
Boy, honk your horn if you've ever heard of the band Argent.
Ha!
We're back on the game. Mitch Fortner and Troy Coverdale. There was actually one thing I did forget to mention about the Blue Valley linebacker in McGuire Richmond, because I teased it in the first hour that I wanted to talk about his film and how I had been impressed with his more than anybody else's in the 2025 class so far, even more than Dylan Duff at quarterback. The linebacker, that kid is so mature on the football field watching his highlight film. Now, obviously, you're going to see just highlights. You're not going to see mistakes. But what I got out of that is actually, as a linebacker, it takes a lot of, heads-up awareness, knowing your surroundings. There's a lot of fundamentals that go into when you're a linebacker in defending the pass. When you drop into the flats or drop back maybe more into the secondary and you help out with the zone coverage, there's a lot of responsibility there. You also got to watch the backfield. You got to read the quarterback. And that guy decides to run or there's a check down, guess what? You're sprinting to get to that football. And he did so much right in those areas. Like, as a junior in high school, he's got to have some good coaches. And he's also just got to have, because I think there's a lot of smarts that go into that kind of play. And you got to have that intuition. You got to know what's going on behind you and where guys are, and not being too close to the boundary and things like there's a lot of things you got to be aware of. He did a really good job with that. Really good job. That's where he really impressed me. Wasn't the tackling. I think he could be faster, work on the speed, but he likes to hit. But it was the pass coverage that I was very impressed with. Certainly standing out on the film to me. Okay. Mentioned there before the break, celebrities passing away. People have always said it comes in threes, and we have an example of that. Wasn't long ago, Bill Walton passed away. And then the other day, last week, it was Jerry West who passed away. He's the logo of the NBA great, legend, icon. And then we found out yesterday, one of the greatest of all time in baseball, Willie Mays, passed away. And then that was at the age of 93. I'm not a baseball historian like Troy and AJ are, but let me tell you the impact that Willie Mays had on me. Willie Mays might have the most famous highlight in baseball, and that was in the playoff, or that was in the World Series against Cleveland. What year was that? 53? Where the ball's heading out to center field, and the center fielder, Willie Mays, running straight towards the wall, makes the catch with the ball going right over his head. And every time I see a play like that happen, my mind always goes back to Willie Mays. That's the Willie Mays catch. Because that is a very difficult play to make. So many records the guy held.
Make that 54, sorry.
54. But his playing days were, he stopped playing baseball 17 years before I was born. So it's only about highlight. I'm not old enough to watch Willie Mays play baseball. So I didn't have that kind of impact. But it's amazing. You're an icon when you had that one play that when people make a similar type of play, they automatically think of you.
Let me qualify one aspect of that, because there was only one ballpark in Major League Baseball where that catch could even be made that way, and it was the Polo Grounds. And I don't know how familiar you are with the layout of the Polo Grounds, but it was the deepest center field in Major League Baseball because it was essentially an oval rather than your standard baseball setup.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And the drive off the bat of Wirtz was 425 feet. That's a lot of ground to have to cover to even get to the wall, and Willie Mays got there. It was an odd field in how it was designed and how it played, but Mays recognized that he had the room to be able to track that ball down.
That's Brooklyn Dodger.
No,
That's
that was the Giants' home field.
Oh, I thought that was in Brooklyn.
No, this was literally right across the river, if you will, from Yankee Stadium. You had those two stadiums within sight of each other when you look at the old photos. The Polo Grounds was ancient, even by that point, which is part of why the Giants, when the Dodgers made their move, why the Giants went with them. They recognized that they needed a new home.
Well, it says here the Polo Grounds was in Manhattan, New York.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the New York Giants at the time, not the San Francisco Giants.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you were saying it was in San Francisco.
No. This was the New York Giants. That the point being that the Polo Grounds was why, the number one reason why they moved when the Dodgers did as well.
Gotcha. The Say Hey Kid. Were you alive when Willie Mays was playing?
Barely. I was 2 when he stopped. I was born in 71. His last year was 73.
I was reading through. Boy, he was a 24-time All-Star. I think he played 24 seasons.
Correct.
Isn't that right? So he was an All-Star every year he played. Only one World Series, though.
Only one World Series. Also, but bear in mind, you also did not have a level of playoffs beyond just the World Series. You didn't have an AL championship game. You didn't have an NL championship game. It was strictly the league winners during the season.
Here's maybe the most shocking part about Willie Mays' career is when he was being inducted into, or when the vote was taking place to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, that he did not get 100% of the vote.
No one did until, well, recent vintage.
I mean,
they've always kept it to where at least one person has voted against whomever, because nobody wanted to give a 100.
Well, that's insane to me.
I know.
Especially when you're talking about, you're telling me they gave Babe Ruth a 94.6%?
Yep.
Stupid.
Yep. No one said that baseball writers were exactly the, well, okay, there's plenty of debate that could be given there.
I mean, I have to look at who was on the ballot that year for the vote and see who would get the vote over Willie Mays for somebody. I mean, where my mind goes with that is could have had been something racial. But you had said that it was for everybody. That's just the way it went. Maybe It wouldn't be exactly racial, but I mean, come on, it's Willie Mays. How do you not get a 100% as a first ballot Hall of Famer for all the records that he held or broke? And I mean, there's so many guys you could probably put the list of who you consider the best baseball players of all time, but everybody's list is going to have Willie Mays in the top 5 at least.
But consider, there had not been a 100% vote for a player until Mariano Rivera in 2019.
Baseball's a weird sport.
Well, it's controlled by the baseball writers. The baseball writers are the baseball media members are the ones who control who gets into the Hall of Fame. And there are some serious curmudgeons involved in that, and legendary curmudgeons that have been involved in it well before that. So really, all of the highest tally of votes have come in the last 30 years. Because you have to go back to 1982 before you even had Hank Aaron pick up 406 votes.
Interesting. And stupid.
Agreed. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you one bit.
So you weren't alive to watch Willie
No.
Mays. I don't know how many games you've ever been to in person, but who's the best player you've ever seen play in person?
Natural athlete Bo Jackson.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, did you watch him play baseball?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For the Royals?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously didn't see Bo Jackson. If I would go in baseball player, for me it'd be Ken Griffey Jr.
Sure. Yeah.
And I got one of his foul balls.
Now, I did not have the chance to see Griffey in person, so I can't speak to that. I mean, let's be honest. The era that I grew up, you had some great individuals, but I don't know that anybody could ever match what Bo was able to do in terms of just a general performance because of what he was.
I think there might be a Willie Mays question in next week's
Stump
the Shaw.
Yeah. Still amazes me. The Polo Grounds, the fourth iteration of the Polo Grounds, was finally torn down in 1964 after originally opening in 1911.
So I was trying to find the dimensions, like just to get the exact.
And it was dependent on center field wall. Did you find what I just...
Center field wall. Okay, so in dead center field at Polo Grounds.
Yes.
Like you have like the regular seating going around the stadium. And then, it's like the railing is not too high or anything for most of it until you get to dead center. And then you basically have dead center has basically its own green monster.
Yes.
So if you're looking at down the foul poles, right field or left field, you're looking at about 450. With the monster out in center field, which it's basically a straight line. Like it's not deeper technically if it just had the regular fence. But with the monster, it's 483 for a home run.
Yeah. It was just the most unusual setup for baseball. And 483. And here's the other aspect of that. Guess how you got into the stands?
How?
Center field.
Oh, really? That was the
entrance point was center field.
Interesting. Okay, so I misspoke. So down the lines, left field and right field foul poles, those are about 279. Left field is 279, right field 258. Right center is 249, left center is 450. 449 for right center, 450 for left center, and then center field is 483. So yeah, it's a deep outfield.
What a
lot of ground to cover.
What a stadium. I mean, it just so strangely set up.
When we come back, it is my top 100 TV theme songs of all time, 95 through 91, after these words.
Wrapping things up on the game, Troy and Mitch for you this afternoon. Okay, so what is, as we talked earlier about the Polo Grounds, what is the most unusual place that you have seen a game? Any game?
Well, it might be Otto DeAndre Stadium in Clay Center, where I played high school football and middle school football, because the home stands faced towards the west.
Mm-hmm.
So the press box, the home stands, you're looking right into the sun when that sun is going down on a Friday night.
Yeah.
That sucked. The home team should not have to deal with that. So that's a big reason why I'm very happy that they built a new stadium that has turf, has great grounds. Look, I could give you so many stories about when I called K-State soccer and the weird stadiums or odd stadiums
Yes.
or like no stadium to speak of.
Yes.
But I tell you, Oregon State, when we played soccer there, I mean, there were literally nails sticking up through the bleachers and through in the press box where you could easily get poked. Ridiculous. Did you have one?
Just off the top of my head, I always will remember being in the old press box at Multnomah Stadium, Municipal Stadium, whatever you want to call it. It's Providence Park now in Portland, but that old press box had been just left to rot, and it still had left field where it was just wide open. They're playing football in it.
Yeah.
But so you had nothing behind the visitor's bench. Nothing behind the visitor's bench to the wall.
I've said before, I'm also not a fan at all of Boone Pickens Stadium. We're out for Troy. I'm Mitch. Go Cats.